I've never been this nervous in my life. I spoke in front of 250 people that had all 10x my net worth. And after a 1.5 hour speech, I made 175 entrepreneurs. But here is the power of communication. I'm going to explain you exactly what you must do and what you must learn from today's video for you to become influential in the way you communicate, to make everything happen you want to make happen, which is one of the most important skills on earth, I can tell you right now. Because even though I was nervous the moment I was walking on stage, I was walking like this. I was walking on stage, back, boom. 250 people saw me and I was like, damn, I'm doing this now, but I don't feel completely comfortable doing this. And after I started to speak and I saw the audience engage with my voice, I was surprised by how powerful the actual essence of communication is. But I can tell you right now, if you don't follow the steps that I will be explaining you in today's video about communication, to actually on a psychological level interact with people correctly, you won't become a powerful speaker, because it's not just about how you use your words, right? Now, the first thing I want to talk about is that it doesn't matter what you say. It really doesn't. The way you say things, with what type of tone and energy, matters around 5 times more than the actual thing that you're saying. Let that be extremely clear. I was walking on stage and all these people were looking at me, and I kind of felt an energy of people thinking, because the average person on stage was 40, 45. I'm 22 years old, I'm extremely young. So I was walking on stage and I kind of felt like, I'm not sure if I belong here. That is all the thoughts that were running through my head, because I just felt like I was young. I felt like everybody made so much more money than I did. Even though I make millions a year, they all made fucking billions, right? Now, the problem here wasn't them, the problem was me, it was my confidence. But the moment I started speaking, I saw everybody transform into a listener while I became the authority figure. And the only thing that changed that was the way I communicated. And it was not what I said, because the presentation that I had, and the reason why I actually sold 175 out of the 250 entrepreneurs, was not because what I showed was extremely in-depth in terms of tactics, or it was extremely in-depth in terms of data. No, I just understood exactly what I needed to say to my audience, these 250 people, for them to believe that my solution is the actual win and the thing that will solve their problem, because that's the most important thing. Now, how did I solve that, and why did I have such a high conversion rate on my first speech, where in the first place I was extremely nervous for? Now, what I did is, before I actually walked on stage, I understood my core audience principles. I understood the average age. I understood not their demographics. Nobody gives a fuck about that. I understood their mental models. I understand their behavior and thinking patterns, the way they interact, the things that they care about. And because I knew this, I could adjust my communication based on my evergreen presentation that I had made in general about the profile funnel and Mochi, my consulting company that is now included with my software company. And I could adjust that message within my ability to speak and my communication towards the thing that they needed. That is the first step. Because I knew exactly what they needed, and because I know their exact pain points, I just knew what to say. And that is what saved me my life. Because following a presentation is not what makes you a great speaker. Following a bullet point is not what makes you an actual influenceable person, right? It's like the power of the ability to convert a mass market and the ability to convert an insane amount of people that are listening to you is not generating attention. It's easy. Getting 250 people there, I didn't even organize that. I was just a speaker. It's easy, right? Converting them, that needs to happen because of one reason. And that one reason is keeping people's attention. When you can talk and people keep listening to you like you do to me right now. You're listening to me for 5 minutes straight. And I technically haven't even given you the exact framework yet. But you're patient to listen because you're intrigued by the story that I'm telling you. That is the fucking power of speaking. This is the exact reason of why it proves why I sold so many offers. Do you understand, right? Now, that framework is extremely interesting because when I understood my core audience, I need to make sure that I could fit my communication skills to their exact needs. And that is what I did continuously. Now, the second thing I did is I adjusted my voice, I adjusted my tone, and I adjusted my strategy based on how the audience is behaving. Every single time you speak in front of people, no matter if I'm here with my team, no matter if I'm in front of 250 people, no matter if I'm in a relationship with my girl, right? The most important thing is you want people's attention and you have to adjust yourself to each specific situation because everything is different. Now, when you do that and you adjust yourself continuously, you constantly know what to do to create the biggest benefit for yourself and for the customer. Because it doesn't matter if you adjust your strategy. I adjust my strategy because I saw multiple people in the back going on their phone, right? They were going on their phone after like 25 minutes of talking. It was a 1.5 hour speech. I needed another hour. What if everybody's going on their phone? Like, who am I speaking to? Like, no one? Technically no one when everybody is on their phone. So I adjusted my strategy when I saw multiple people go on his phone. Because the thing is, there were 3 speakers in front of me, and this is the interesting thing. I was not observing the speaker. I was not listening to a single fuck of what they were saying. I was looking at how the audience was behaving because I was backstage and I saw the fucking cameras and the whole audience. And I knew exactly when people interacted with certain things and when people didn't. So that observation actually made me millions. That is the observation that made me got at least an extra 50 people to buy my low ticket product on that stage that I presented. Now, the beautiful thing is I understood my audience and I constantly changed my behavior and communication skills based on the audience language, body language, and everything, right? Energy. And they were on their phone. Some people were just focused, talking with each other. So I constantly adapted my language, which is the reason why so many people actually maintained keeping their attention to the end. It's like a VSL, right? It's like when you're watching a VSL, the actual good VSLs have a retention rate of 15%. Shitty VSLs have a retention rate of 2%. Now, what can you do to increase that retention rate? It's nothing to do with the data or the presentation itself. It's the way you speak and the way you flow people into a storyline. This is number 3. When you understand the audience, when you understand how to speak, you need to understand how to talk and how to actually story tell. Communication can be amazing, but when people cannot logically follow something, they cannot picture the path in their mind easily without them needing to think and use their brain, you're doing it wrong. So what you need to do is you need to make it, no matter if the topic is complex or simplistic, you need to make sure that you engage with the audience continuously and that you frequently understand how to put small sentences together to make it one storyline. Bring people in a fantasy, right? You're opening a new door for people. Bring them in a fantasy. That is what people want. It's like, you know, when you're in flow state, you're working, right? And you're in deep focus. You can't just not get distracted. You're only focused on your mission and your goal, and you get the most amount of work done. It's exactly what happens with storytelling. When you can tell a story, you know that one friend, you probably have that one friend that always have these amazing stories. And the reason why his stories probably are amazing is not because he can actually talk and communicate extremely well, because he has interesting stories. So now, even though you can storytell, which is absolutely amazing, if the story is not applicable to you and it's not likable, nobody would give a fuck. The most important thing is the topic. When the topic you're talking about is not of interest of the audience, you can be as good as anyone storytelling, right? You can be the top #1 speaker, but nobody will listen to you. So that old friend, right? Keep that in mind. He is the amazing topic, right? That is that old friend you have. And that top speaker, he has the communication skills to actually storytell. You need to combine them together to become one of the most powerful humans on earth that actually creates influence into converting people. Imagine you can grasp people into a story. It's like what I'm doing with you right now. You have followed my story from when I started walking on stage, to when I started to look at my audience, to when I saw John going on his phone, to when I saw how people interacted with me to adapt my strategy, to go from data to acts to storytelling is extremely crucial. Now, you have the 3 steps that I told you based on how you should implement this framework. The 4th thing is something that is necessary to make the other 3 work. And this is branding. No, this is not, do you put a logo on the top left of your actual presentation? This is the way you dress. This is the way you behave. This is how you move your hands. This is where you look. It's branding, right? That's actually the pureness of branding. How do you behave? Where do you look when you're speaking? How are you standing? How is your posture? How is your clothing style? Everything fucking matters. When you don't have that on point, and what people verbally hear doesn't make sense with what they're visually being shown, they won't believe it. And right now, we're in a trust economy. The most important thing for people to ever become your customer or hand over their trust to you, whether that's their credit card, whether that's their time, whether that's their friendships or relationships, right? The most important thing is you need to earn their trust. And you earn their trust by making things make sense. It's not that complicated. That is the power of communication. Now, what I want you to do is I wrote out a 5-step sequence. Now, this is not a frame, this is a sequence. Now, what I want you to do is I have a 1-hour Loom video that I made about personal branding, where I go way more in depth into this exact strategy. I'm happy to send it over to you. You can send me a DM on Instagram, because I don't think you underestimate and actually fucking understand the importance of this. When you do understand this, you will become a goat at marketing, you will become a goat at sales, and you'll become a goat at communication and storytelling, right? Which ultimately makes you the money that you deserve. Take action and make sure you implement these steps.